Hey everybody, Zach Joyner here for Spideydude.com. Welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. This episode, we're going to be covering issues 24 through 29 of The Amazing Spider-Man, the fifth volume of The Amazing Spider-Man. And joining me this episode is the agreeable Neil. Neil!
Yeah, I thought it was 24 to 28.
Yeah, 24 to 28, my bad.
No, other than that, I'm doing great.
Oh, well,
I've had dinner and I am ready to talk about comics.
There you go. Speaking of dinner, we got Paul. Welcome back, Paul.
Welcome, or thank you, I should say.
Is that taquito?
No, this is, my friend, a crispy pinto bean burrito from Taco Time, Northwest, from Seattle, Washington, and it is freaking delicious. This is a fried tortilla with beans in the middle, and you've used some hot sauce in this bad boy. It's incredible. Seriously, Taco Time is the shizzy. That's all I got to say, and I'm bringing that back.
This has become a paid ad for Taco Time.
It is. And because I'm a trooper, I'm eating dinner while we talk about Spider-Man, which is probably my favorite thing to do in the world. So here's my hot sauce. Here's my burrito. I have another burrito down there and some little Mexi fry thing. So I'm ready to go.
Are you right next to your mic?
I am, actually.
Yeah, because I can tell. Because you almost blew it out.
Well, my voice goes crazy. So, but yeah, it's I'm by it, but I'm trying to. Yeah, I'll do my best to blow it out. I'll blow your ears out eventually, Neil. Don't worry.
Please no, I'm young. I like them.
No, you gotta waste them now. I did when I was your age. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, welcome to the show, and we're going to be covering this issue 24 of The Amazing Spider-Man. That's right, the 24th issue, the fifth time we've got the fourth time we've gotten issue 24 because Volume 3 didn't even make it to issue 24. That's right. This is This is another exciting episode. So we have Fear has a new name. This issue is done by Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley. Once again, one-on-one. The issue opens with Mary Jane and Peter Parker. They are together out on the town, and so they're at this art exhibit where Peter kind of reflects back on what's happened with Hunted. They get caught. Mary Jane's like, "Oh yeah, they owed you something." Huh? Then we cut back to Quentin Beck.
I would like to point out that they get caught by Paul Blart Mall Cop right there.
Yeah, Paul Blart Mall Cop. Meanwhile, most of this issue is kind of the psychology of Quentin Beck, and he talks about actually how he died, and someone else came around, and so. Talking back and forth with the psychiatrist, Mysterio is not doing very well because he's trying not to reveal the name of our nefarious character. Now, we've already kind of spoiled this already, but the name of the character is Kindred. So Kindred shows up. He's like, "Oh, look, I'm not mad at you this time because you weren't supposed to say my name." But then he sits there and kills Mysterio and then kind of is talking at Peter, and then Peter wakes up when he finds out the name, Kindred. So that is basically issue 24.
Very quick summary, I'm not going to lie.
I'm trying to be quicker with these.
This is great, Neil. Stop it.
I never said it was bad. I'm just saying it's different.
I know. It's good. It's good. More time for us to talk and argue.
All right. So, gentlemen, what did you think about this issue? I'll start with Neil so that Paul can take a few bites of his burrito.
I already finished it, but anyway.
Oh, damn. He got a vacuum for a mouth.
Hell yeah, bro.
Whoa. What a friend.
Oh, no. Oh, you made me. Oh, God, Zach. All right. Anyways, I thought this was a very strong issue. Coming off of Hunted, which was a 12-issue storyline, having a one and done was very much appreciated. But when it still plays into the larger narrative is very welcome. Especially with Ryan, especially because Ryan Ottley was very much missed by me because he hadn't appeared since 16.
Yeah.
So he was gone for 12 issues.
He was in the last issue. He did the prologue.
Yeah, he was in the prologue.
Oh yeah.
Or epilogue, excuse me.
The epilogue for Hunted, yeah. But it's good to see him regardless of such.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree
Yes.
with that.
Also a very good character study of Mysterio, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Like going through the events of, was it Guardian Angel?
Mm-hmm.
And I think web spinners. They mentioned web spinners either in this issue or in a different one. I think maybe issue 25. But
I need to read that still.
very deep dive into Mysterio as a character. I thought it was very well executed in terms of like taking everything from those issues with Daredevil and Spider-Man, and then putting us in Mysterio's shoes to see how he felt about those events. I thought that was a very smart way to delve into how he feels, and then contrasting it with Kindred just suddenly appearing, and with his like a dramatic entrance.
Yes.
Very excellent.
It will be the only dramatic entrance that we have in this particular episode with Kindred.
Oh yes, Kindred is a master of surprise entrances.
Exactly.
Anyways, Paul, your thoughts?
Well, I think this is I'm going to echo what you said, Neil. This is a great issue. I think this is something that. Sorry, I heard an echo. That was kind of weirding me out. I'm not sure who has the echo. I'll start over. Sorry. So yeah, no, I really like this issue. What I liked about it was the fact that, like you said, Neil, you get a good sense of Mysterio, but you get to the idea of not just a Mysterio from the last couple of years, but Guardian Devil, like why he died. You're not sugarcoating it. You're not trying to beat around the bush. You go straight into the idea of why, what he did, why he did it, and you need to have that. And I think, but also make it. I don't want to play suicide off as kind of a whatever thing. It's something I take very seriously, personally. But at the same time, I think Nick Spencer did a good job of kind of making it not as serious as it could have been, and he kept it like light, but he also kept it not too jokey, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I really liked everything that we got from this issue. The Kindred stuff, I love anything with Kindred. I love the character so far, what we've been given. So I mean, it's light on Spider-Man, but you're also pushing the idea of Spider-Man and what you're doing with Kindred and with Mary Jane. And that's something that obviously he's going to be going back to, back and forth with everything. But yeah, this is great. I gotta say, Ryan Otley, which I've liked since Invincible, he really is starting to come into his own, I think, by this issue. I think his early stuff is still good, don't get me wrong, but by this time he's really got a good sense of what he's doing with the character and everything.
Yeah, he wasn't falling back on drawing Invincible and Adam Eve.
No, yeah, exactly. Mary Jane actually looks very distinct now, and I gotta say, the way he draws Mysterio might be my favorite way. With the head outline is just so perfect, so you can get like the expressions and everything. Like seeing that in this issue is so good and needed. I think it really gives you a sense of what Mysterio's going through and everything. It really is like maybe my favorite interpretation, which, by the way, Zach, I still love the Sensational Spider-Man interpretation from back in the day, the Clone Saga. So I think that's an underrated design, in my opinion.
It is an underrated design.
Mysterio's had the good fortune of not having too many costume changes.
Yeah.
And so almost all of his costumes, I think the only one I haven't really liked is the Francis Clum costume. And even then, that's not like a horrible design.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Look, I like talking about Otley's artwork. This just looks like reminds me of a Alex Savick Spider-Man right here. This scene right here. I do agree that it gives what otherwise would be an expressionless dome some expression, and I do like the way he's done that with Mysterio. I mean, like, you can see the genuine fear of let me open up the pages, like right here, this one,
very good use of shadow, by the way. The way he frames the therapist, and we'll talk about him later. But like,
yes,
but like the way he's framed completely in shadow makes you think like there's something up with him for most of the issue, and then like at the end, it kind of just yanks the rug out from under your feet and says, "Haha, gotcha! It's just a regular therapist." Yeah,
no, this is so good characterization of Mysterio. I also happen to like this minor variation with the gold accents as opposed to just the green. They just released a Marvel Legends of variant of Mysterio that kind of like was based off of this, and I really like that particular one. I haven't picked that one up yet, but it's in the retro card wave. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of how Spencer writes Mysterio and how Mysterio is ultimately this character that is kind of a tortured soul. Now we kind of lose some of this as we move forward, but very much gets into this is very JMD Mateus like.
Which makes sense considering that Spencer, I think when he was first signed on, like he made a big deal about like how big of a fan he was of Dave Mateus's work.
Yeah, I mean, and I also have to give a lot of credit. The way that Otley draws Kindred is just so good.
The bandages look like strained, and I like that. It's a very aesthetic touch.
I mean, look at that Mysterio right there with the way his face is.
He looks genuinely panicked. Like it's because he doesn't have to deal with like the irises, like the pupils of the eyes, so he's able to be very expressive of like the silhouettes of the eyes. I very much appreciate that when artists like. If anyone here has read Alex Milne, like he's a Transformers artist, he has a very expressive way of drawing eyes that doesn't rely on like pupils and irises. So it allows him to be much more expressive with the actual shape of the eyes. And I can see that reflected in how Otley draws Mysterio.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, look at that entrance of Kindred. Like
it's great. It's fantastic.
So good. I also have another theory that it may be Kane's original. Like
it's not Kane.
You're going to get upset if it is, and then you're going to get mad that you said it.
No, listen.
It's not Neil. You know it's not Kane. It better. Well, it's not. It's not.
Here's the thing. I have a lot more faith in Spencer's ability to write than I did and make it good.
Yeah.
Because he does have a affection for the 90s that I don't feel like existed under the previous writer. And I know you're a Slot fan. But we both agree that Clone Conspiracy is one of the worst stories
it's awful
of all time.
I've gone on record saying that.
You have. And so as a result of that, that's where I feel like if it is Kane, if it is Ben, I have a lot more faith that the psychology of the reasoning behind it will make a lot more sense if it happens to be one of those characters. I also think it's very, very telling that we haven't seen Harry this entire time. And
it's not Harry.
I'm telling you, it's Harry.
It's not Harry.
Okay,
all right, I will bet you. What do you want to bet?
Real quick, if we get on the Kindred train, we're going to be here all night, so I can contest this because Zach and I have spent 3 hours in Discord talking.
We will definitely talk about it in the next show because the absolute Carnage issues are some
hinges on Kindred.
Yeah, like this stream of issues really, I think, is the ones you need to read before you get to Last Rites or Last Remains.
Issues 24 or 20, even 23 to they'd say 31.
Yeah,
though that's like required reading going forward.
Well, yeah, I think that too. I think that's where you get your most hints. I think that's where you get, because we're doing this as a look back. Now that we're getting to the point where we're starting to finally, it looks like we're going to learn more about Kindred here. The day we're talking about this is the day that this issue came out. So we already know what 850 is going to look like. We are now at the halfway point going on with next issue. What is your guys' grade for these issues?
Zach, really quickly, I'm not going to debate. I just want to know, what do you want to bet for It's Not Harry? I will put something up. You think about it, my friend.
I will think about it. I will.
And I'll think about my grade. I give us an A-.
Oh. I'm gonna punch above my weight class. I'm gonna give this issue an A+.
A+ issue. I am going to give it just a middle in the road A. It wasn't absolutely perfect, but it was really, really good.
Yes,
I thought it was very well executed. So A for me. Now we're going to jump over to our next issue, which is issue
milestone time, baby.
It is a milestone issue, ladies and gents. And with a milestone issue, you get a lot more stuff with it. It is
60 pages. Like it was like what, $5 or $6?
Yeah, this was a this was $4.99. Now, if you thought this was big, wait until you get
wait until you get to 850, because that's a book with an actual like
spine.
Spine,
so
yeah.
Thick. Hang on, I'm gonna
Here, I was gonna say, Zach, you have a copy. Show them.
I have the copy in my hands. This is so thick that it actually has a spine to it, and it says on the end, it says The Amazing Spider-Man number 49, Legacy 850. And you could set this on your shelf.
And it would look fine.
You could put this with your trades, and it would look fine. It is a $10 issue. So, yeah. So that's
you mind if I take this one?
Absolutely. You can go do the recap and go from there.
Okay, so there's two different subplots. The first is drawn by Otley and his crew, I think Rathburn, and they did change to Fairburn by now, right? As colorist?
Yeah, let me double check.
It was either Fairburn or it was still Laura Martin, because I think at one point they just changed it up completely.
Yes, I think it's still Fairburn. I think here. I'll double check.
Well, Fairburn's the current one. Laura Martin was the one that came afterwards.
Yeah,
There's no credits page in the digital version.
I think it's towards the end. So give me just a second.
If anyone wants to tackle the backups, then there's no credits page.
There is no credits page. That's weird.
Oh well. But anyways, the first is done by Otley, Rathburn, and we'll say Fairburn, or just for fairness' sake. So the issue begins pretty much right where issue 24 left off, with the therapist running away from Kindred as Kindred kills Mysterio. But it turns out, double switch, Kindred knows that the therapist is actually Mysterio. He went back, deep cut again, and I think it's from ASM 20. It's ASM 42, right?
Yes.
ASM 42, the Ludwig Reinhardt persona that he took on to screw with Spidey. And so Mysterio transforms back into his regular self. Very good smoke and mirror effect by Otley there. Just to show everybody, here is the actual reveal right there. Ludwig von Reinhardt. That was before that. That was the Ditko era. That would be ASM 30. No, it was either 30s or yeah.
36. Yeah, I think it was 36.
So Kindred's mad because he told the therapist Kindred's name to throw him off, and so Mysterio is basically star screaming his way out of it, and he says, "Okay, now you're gonna do something for me," and hands him a script that according to him Mysterio wrote. And so meanwhile, this is the second subplot. Cuts to somewhat okay, somewhat bad Rainbow's art as Peter is in the sewers looking for Doc Connors and fighting off these robots. He's missing a date with MJ, but it's okay because she understands, which is something I appreciate about Spencer run, is that she doesn't go like, "Oh, why can't Peter Parker be there for me? Wow, so mad." And
the MJ subplot's also drawn by Otley.
Yeah. And the third subplot, which goes back to Otley, because it's tied to the Mysterio one, is MJ goes to see a play with Carly Cooper, who I guess is the book's obligatory gal pal for her. We'll talk about that later. But turns out she's going to the play and she has backroom seats because one of her friends in quotations, who took over her role from MJ's old soap opera. Is the lead actress, I believe. She's playing Sue Storm in a Galactus themed play, and so MJ's kind of going through. Well, you want me to cover the Ramos stuff for the Peter stuff first, and keep going back and forth, or do you want to just cover each one on their own?
Just cover them on their own, and let's just go from there.
Okay, so basically, MJ's kind of having an existential crisis because not an existential, but she's kind of still in the middle of a rut trying to find a job while her actress friend is kind of at the top of her game. And
she won an Oscar, Neil. Not just kind of at the top of her game. She won an Oscar.
I'm comparing to MJ, so...
Yeah.
But meanwhile, MJ is going giving mental criticism while the play is going on, and then out of nowhere, She-Electro comes up, and through reused art for exposition, we learn that it's Francine Fry who Electro kissed to death and became the new Electro through cloning.
Neil, her name is Electro, not She-Electro.
We are calling her She-Electro.
No, it's Electro. Thank you.
And so MJ immediately just springs into action, and I love this one because it's Spencer using like real world stuff to I guess sort of intentionally date his product, where he has where she put I guess periscopes holding the actress hostage, Melanie, right?
Yep.
She holds Melanie hostage and says like, okay, so I'm gonna hold you guys. I'm gonna hold her ransom on stream.
Yep.
And she says like, if I get I'm gonna set up a fund for you to save her life. You got to donate to my GoFundMe essentially to save this woman's life. And so meanwhile it's like 15 minutes in, nothing's happening. And so I think at one point she decides to shake it up a bit and says like, I'm gonna set up 2 different funds. The first is to let her go. The other is a Jason Todd her, basically. She essentially set up a Jason Todd scenario. It's like, I'm going to set up 2 GoFundMes, one to save her life, the other
whichever one's bigger is the one that we'll go with, basically. You know, instead of voting her off the island, you're voting for her doom. But go on.
Yeah, and so Carly steps onto the stage and says, "Hey, I'm NYPD," and then She-Electro shocks her off the stage, and for whatever reason. Melanie now has green eyes, so she gives a little speech, like a last words speech, just because She-Electro gives her one, and she talks about how she hated being famous, but
Electro.
Okay, whatever.
You're just being
Eddie.
Picky. I'll get into that in a minute.
But MJ does a big Tom King-esque monologue about how her life has meaning regardless of whether or not she's an actress or not. I think that's the gist of it. But like she talks about like playing a part and how that translates into it kind of ties back to Peter basically. Mm-hmm. And so then it turns out dun 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 MJ switched out with Melanie backstage. She got the wig and decided to put on a performance. Turns out that she got Carly to put on some electric proof padding to blunt the blow. I love that panel of Carly where she just got a thumbs up and her glasses are all over the place. She's like, still hurts.
Yeah.
And I do love that panel that she just zoomed past where MJ takes off the wig and She-Electro goes, "Wait, you're the Mary Jane from Secret Hospital?" And she goes, yeah. "Oh my god, you're actually a really good actress. I'm a fan." "Seriously? Oh yeah, I loved you. And I wanted to kill her. That's why I wanted to kill her." and so
what a twist!
That was a really good comedy moment on Spencer's part, especially because it could have been like really bad tonal whiplash. But like Spencer was very good about easing it in.
Yeah.
But MJ basically saves the day by opening the water on the Namor set and shorting her out, and then basically she's crowned a hero when her friend tries to go like, "Oh, it's not. Why am I not being crowned? Because I'm the victim
here."
But anyways, Peter has the more simpler plot where he basically spends like 10 or so pages trying to convince Doc Connors to come back. And he's like, "No, but I might hurt someone as a lizard." But then Peter's like, "Okay." But Peter just says, "Please." And he goes, "Okay, I'm going to get a new chip." And then he goes back to his sewer house. Peter and MJ make up. Yeah, I feel that picture right there. But anyways, Billy and Kurt make up, and Peter goes to make up with MJ. Who I appreciate that they didn't make like a big deal out of him missing their date. I'm appreciate that it was just kind of like she understood. But Peter made a decision out of talking to Doc Connors, and the issue ends with Peter well, it doesn't end, but like one of the major bookends is Peter decides to join Dr. Connors' class. I think it's his TA, right? Or one of his students.
It's one of his students / TA. Yeah,
to regain his doctorate, which I thought was a very good way of bringing back his growth. Like I do appreciate that. But anyways, MJ and Carly are out getting coffee, and then she gets a call from her old agent, and
which is a deep cut because this is the
Brett Hoskins. It's the same one from when she was. It was the Caesar days.
Yeah, Julian Caesar or Jonathan Caesar. Excuse me.
I think it was. It was Jonathan Caesar. Yeah,
it was Jonathan Caesar. Yeah.
But anyways, her agent's saying like, "Hey, I've got a big role for you. So I'm getting field call. I'm getting calls all day," and then he's like, "I got this brand new project for you." And it zooms out, and it turns out the guy pitching is Mysterio. And then the whole story kind of wraps up with Kindred in his Hall of Mirrors from the Beauty and the Beast set, with all the major Spider family members plus MJ.
Hey, look who's not there. I don't know who that is.
I think that's Kane screaming.
Is that Kane screaming? Okay,
I think so.
You got Ben, you got Miles, you got Otto, you got
this is really badly dated, by the way.
Is that supposed to be Mary Jane?
I think so because of the green eye.
That's what I thought too. Okay.
You got Gwen, you got Silk, you got Jessica Drew.
This page is poorly aged. I'm not gonna lie, because Jess is in a completely different costume. Cindy has long
hair in ASM 850. Spoiler.
That's what I'm saying. And then Cindy's got long hair again, but no one can decide on whether or not she actually does have long hair. Gwen's got Gwen hasn't really changed a lot. Otto's not even a Spider-Man anymore.
Yep.
And Kane's costume is red, I guess.
So anyway, the last bit is basically the setup for the next issue,
and then the next arcs.
And
this issue is actually Pat Gleason's debut on ASM, or Kev Walker and Pat Gleason's debut. And I gotta say, this was a very standout debut for Gleason.
Yeah, and then we get basically a tease of 2099 that the future's dying, and then. We
got backups. Do we want to talk about the backups, or?
Yeah, let's talk about the backups. I'll jump in and do the backups right quick.
Yeah, all right. I gotta plug in my tablet real quick, so you can take over for a bit.
I'll take. They did a Robo Helpers where they basically had a robot, like a bot, write Spider-Man stories, which was kind of hilarious. They have the still up
the Chromatic Boys.
Yeah, you got Jonah kind of and Peter having this weird hijinks thing where Doctor Strange shows up, and then of course the bot helper. This is where basically a bot actually they like submitted a bunch of Spider-Man stories, and they had a robot write the thing. It's not good.
It's if you're into like absurdist stuff, then you'll get a kick out of it, but it's not like a particularly great story.
No, it's not. Basically, this is the start of year 2, and yeah, that's the end of the issue. Issue 26 starts a whole brand new story arc. So, I'm going to remove that for a minute, guys. What did you think of the issue overall, Paul? We're going to let you talk first, since Neil did a lot of the recapping.
Yeah, I think this was a great issue. It was weird that Spider-Man was not the focus of the last 2 issues.
Yeah,
but it didn't matter, to be honest. And that's, I mean, he's obviously in this. He's more in the 25th issue, obviously, than the 24th. But no, I thought that was a good follow-up for the Lizard. We needed to have that for clarity of what happened after Hunted, because you have this huge. Again, it felt like Hunted was so huge, and they tried to condense it to such a small or whatever. Like it's, I don't know, the way they projected that story out was just not. It's I still like Hunted, but it's just not as condensed as it needed to be. And now you're still dealing with the Lizard fallout from in issue 25. It's like, okay, well, you should have wrapped this up like 3 issues ago, basically.
Yeah.
But whatever. But that being said, it's nice because we got the Mary Jane backdoor pilot, right, for this issue, which was good. I hate to say this, I didn't read the Mary Jane solo series. I wanted to, but I just got way too busy, and it just kept
buy the trade.
I have them all. I just haven't read them. I'm just like, oh, I'll get them eventually. I'll read it eventually. And I actually wanted to read it more when I think Adam told me last time on the show that it's the Savage Six. So I was like, oh, what? They're in this? So
speaking of Adam,
oh my God, the art apologist. He's back. He's back.
There was the best segue ever. I was like, oh, Adam, you mentioned Adam. Bam.
Wow, that was very fortuitous of me.
Yes, I'm sorry I'm late. I thought we were starting a little later.
Oh. Well, that's the later episode. That's for when Neil jumps out and we have to do do it all over again.
There'll be a new link. Okay.
But just finishing up my thoughts here. The Ramos art, it's hit and miss. Pretty classic Ramos, whatever you want to call him, and
it's less Deadline Ramos and more like the good Ramos. So there was more.
Yeah, it's not bad. It wasn't bad. It's just kind of, it's very stylized.
There are some pages where it feels like he was on a time crunch, but there wasn't like amorphous alien neck man.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I think this was a great issue. Actually, I liked Electro. Not she, Electro.
You're gonna get me going on a rant in a second.
Don't do it.
I am never going to capitulate on this. You are never going to get me to give up on this, Paul. I am dying on the She-Electro hill.
No, it's this Electro.
No, I'm sorry.
Yes. Hold on.
Don't you know I'm Electro? She says later.
Regardless, I really liked her character. I actually like the character. I think she's actually more compelling than Max Dillon ever was, to be quite honest.
I disagree with that.
Oh, you're gonna. I want to see this fight go down.
Now, here's the thing: they had to they've been trying to make Electro interesting for years, and they've never been successful at it. And so well, whatever. Anyway, this is a whole different podcast we're going to get into. All I'm saying. I'm saying is exactly. Yes, thank you, Adam. No, all I'm saying is I actually like this character, and I didn't think I was, because I'm not someone who I don't like gimmicks for the sake of gimmicks all the time. I mean, I get it's comics, right?
So likes Electro.
Well, no, hold on. I agree. I don't. That's on face value. I'm not just going to like something on just it's just rebrand it and make it whatever. I actually really like the idea of this character being this kind of cast off, which again we get later on in the later issues. They can actually talks about that, not really feeling being hurt or whatever. Yeah. And I really like the idea that she's kind of she's her own loose loose screw going on, and that's why she's there in the first place. But yeah, I the way Spencer writes her is actually really cool. I don't, to be honest, I forgot what she did the first time, but his reintroduction with her, I thought was pretty solid, and I really liked what he's done with her. So, I thought this issue was great. Again, more Kindred, good stuff. So yeah, I'm super into it. I love Electro; she's great.
So, Neil, so what's your grade, Paul?
Oh, I'd give it probably an A minus.
A minus, okay. Yeah. A minus for that. There we go. A minus for Paul. Neil, what's your grade?
So I'm going to get a bit more technical. I'm going to give the main story an A minus. I'm going to give the team up bit with Jonah maybe a B minus.
Yeah.
And then, and do we count the?
That's an F, man.
Do we count the Gleason stuff as separate from the main story? Because I would still count that as an A minus.
It's kind of separate. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, and then Robo Helpers was a D. Nothing really that great. Nothing that offensively bad.
Robo Helpers was a waste of 6 pages. I'm sorry.
Could have gone towards making Kindred.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll say this: my overall grade, the Jonah Pete team up, drawn by Todd Knock. Look,
I love the art.
Yes, the art is good.
Go away, art apologist.
The story, no, but Todd Knock is good. Todd Knock should be on Amazing.
I'm joking.
You know what? He's never. This is, I think, maybe his first time drawing Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think because he drew.
Well,
Was he Spec or?
he
did Friendly Neighborhood.
didn't he do the Obama thing? And that
He
was
did
an
the cover.
amazing, right?
Thanks,
No, he
Obama.
did the thing. He did the fist bump.
Yeah, no, he did the six. He did the six. That was the last time he was been in Amazing, I think. Okay, so Todd Knock did a couple of fill-ins on Sensational, filling in for Mike Ringo, which is kind of makes sense because their art styles are very, very similar.
Okay.
I
okay.
wouldn't say they're that similar, but
They're not similar, but it's not an abrasive change.
Right. It's
Right.
not. They're similar enough to where like it doesn't take you out of the story that you got a new artist, if that makes sense.
sure.
Like if you like when you had Mike Ringo drawing, all the issues, and then you had Todd Knock came in, you're like, oh, it's a little different, but they both have a cartoony style, or obviously had because Mike Ringo's been gone for
right.
15 years, but R.I.P. Mike. But definitely, when he came in, he comes in. Didn't Mike Ringo do the early issues of Friendly Neighborhood? Yes, he did. And then he did. So Todd Knock comes in and does the end of Friendly Neighborhood. In fact, my favorite issue, unironically, of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is 27. So like I'm a fan of Todd Knock. I like Todd Knock. I like seeing him there. He's a really good artist, a very underrated artist, and a really nice guy.
Very reliable too, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very workmanlike. Him and I put him and Pat Olive and in that same. They are great with deadlines. They will get you the work.
I love Pat Olive. He's an underrated artist in my opinion.
Yes. Yep.
Very, very good.
Yep.
Untold Tales is some of the best Spider-Man comics of all time.
More to come with Pat Olive. Anyway, stay tuned to the network.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to this network for more with Pat Olive.
Tell Pat I said hi, and he's awesome.
Yes, I will. So that's just a tease. That's what that is. I just got yelled at by Sarah from across the house. But no, I thought Todd Knock was great. Love this artwork. This artwork throughout the issue, I thought Ramos was particularly the Ramos I tend to like. There was really great elements of Ramos. There was a few janky things, I think, but for the most part, his artwork was pretty good. Ryan Otley is just a godsend to Spider-Man. I mean, he absolutely is.
I mentioned this. Sorry.
Well, this is. Go ahead.
I mentioned it back in the first episode of Spideydude Experience, but he is a very distinctive artist, and I think that this run is set apart almost solely by Otley's art. It's very distinctive in how it presents.
Okay, one of the things that I will say about the Dan Slott era is there was an embarrassment of riches with the artists that were involved. I tend to agree that Nick Spencer has had an embarrassment of riches with artwork. The one that I probably like the least is coming up, but it's still
Kevin
not,
Walker.
Yeah, it's still not.
It's funny because I thought that too, but then I ended up liking it when I reread it.
Whoa! What a coincidence, art apologist!
Art apologist Adam.
What a coincidence!
So we are going to work on bullpen names. And when that happens, we'll have to. I'm sorry, Paul. You're not going to be P Thuggin.
I'm P Thug. That's my nick. That's my Twitter name.
I know that's your Twitter name, but your bullpen name will be something else. Adam is art apologist.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm agreeable Neil.
You're agreeable Neil. Yes, exactly.
Wait, we talked about it last night. You said I was Admirable Adam. Can I?
You are admirable. You are admirable.
No, art apologist.
But
but that's not the same as like a bullpen name.
That's a bullpen name. Whatever.
I mean, it's the Spideydude name is art apologist. I think.
Yeah.
I have another one for later.
Oh.
No. You'll always be the art apologist to me, Adam. You'll never not do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. The art apologist forever. So, nevertheless, artwork throughout this entire issue is really pretty good to great. So artwork-wise, very well done. A to A minus. Doesn't matter. Even I didn't dislike the artwork in the bot thing. I just hated the concept of why are we wasting 6 pages of this.
Seeming like a digital thing.
Or how about the issue or the story before that with Doctor Strange? I think it was completely worthwhile.
It was one of those things that was kind of like I forgot it. Truthfully, it's a forgettable story.
I'd forgotten, wish I never read it again.
It was one of those things where it wasn't very forgettable. So to me, that's like a C. That was a D. That was a D story with A artwork, so that averages out to a C for me.
Zeb Wells, he's not terrible writer. Like that's the thing.
His Ant-Man mini that came out this past, it was amazing.
Yeah, the Swarm. I read the first couple issues. I liked it, and
he's also doing Hellions for the X-Men line, and he's still great over there.
Zeb Wells,
X-Men.
Go away.
So we'll get there later.
Boy, I know my X-Men. Don't even get me started.
Oh,
don't! I will destroy anything you want to throw at me with X-Men knowledge.
Neil's dabbing again.
Dabbing on you.
All right. So anyway, but nevertheless, I thought artwork was pretty good. I thought, look, I don't hate Zeb. I didn't hate Zeb Wells writing like I've hated other writers before. So it's like, all right, it's Zeb Wells. I know what to expect with Zeb Wells. So I was like, okay, this is going to be C to B storytelling generally before I go in with it. I get you don't like it, Paul. But I think the artwork helped it from being a much lower graded.
Agreed.
Sure.
No, for sure. He imagined if Pachaco, whatever his name is like was on there. Pachalo. That would be like one of the worst. Like,
Zeb Wells gave us Shed, and for that he can never be forgiven in my eyes. But
listen, I get it. But remember, we both like the Brand New Day story.
Yeah, the spider, the Snow God story.
It's a good story.
It was a good story. So
anyway,
see last episode for more on that. But nevertheless, I thought the issue was really strong. I thought everything that we had in this issue made a difference. This definitely, obviously, set up Mary Jane. Yep. Amazing Mary Jane. We'll have to do an episode with it's just Amazing Mary Jane. I do have a special guest star in mind for that episode. But we'll get to that more later. Look, Amazing Mary Jane was I'll briefly say it. It was a good series that kind of went off the rails at the end and then got cut short because of the pandemic.
F in the chat.
Press F in the chat for the Amazing Mary Jane series. But nevertheless, I thought really good. I love when Spencer gets into like the psychology of Mary Jane. I love the way Mary Jane and Peter interacted in this issue. They actually like a couple. Like Mary Jane is his significant other that has been a significant other for a long period of time. She knows what she's getting herself into, and that's what I appreciate about the characterization of the characters and their relationship in this particular volume. So definitely a minus out of me. The minus primarily coming from the backups, but the main story was an A+ for me. I really enjoyed it. Look, I will say this. I do call her She-Electro because I feel like there's been some good Max Dillon stories. Light the Night that J.M. DeMatteis did. I didn't like the artwork with it, but I love the story.
I don't think he's there to hear. He went to go use the restroom, so he's not here to hear you explain it.
So I'll talk about that here in a little bit when we get we're going to do the next few issues, but I'm going to give Adam the chance to kind of give your thoughts. What was your grade on 24?
24. I think I would give that. Oh, we're doing single grades again. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get your because we gave our grades on 24 and you weren't here for that, so I wanted to.
Okay. Sure. Well, thank you for that. 24. I hadn't read it in a few months. It was. I liked it. I'd say it was an A. I liked the little callbacks to the
Reinhardt.
Yeah, that and there was a little callback to that issue in the 60s, like it was like 66 or something of ASM with the carnival thing.
Yeah.
There was the thing from Web Spinners that I'm gonna be the art apologist again. Where's Paul? I remember picking up a couple issues of Web Spinners when it came out. Those first three. Well, I didn't get the first one, but anyway, I like the art in that. I know a lot of people don't like the art in that. It's Michael Zulli. It's a little rough, but I honestly, well, the thing is, I liked how Spider-Man and Mysterio were drawn in that. So that is.
Oh, you're a Ditko fan, and there's a lot of Ditko vibes with that.
Yeah, because I loved that. I just love how that looks.
Yeah,
that's like Spider-Man to me,
right? Like that's what you're a Ditko fanboy. So like that was
sure.
I think with a stronger inker, I think that would have probably been more regarded.
It's like indie comic stuff. It's like Vertigo stuff. It's
honestly better than current Vertigo, but we'll digress.
Sure, but like, I mean, I know because I looked at it like a little while ago, and it's kind of like the art. Like I said, it is kind of. I guess it is kind of like ugly, but like I do kind of like how Spider-Man looks. Because I just like those like small eyes.
You like squinty eyes. You're a squinty eyes guy. I'm a bug eye guy.
Right. I mean, and I like the big eyes too. Like, but it depends.
Yeah, just depends on who's drawing it. I get it.
Yeah, but yeah. So 24. I'll give it an A. I liked it was like kind of. Well, I liked the Peter and Mary Jane date. I liked the Kindred progression. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It's kind of scary. A friend of mine, he said he read the issue and he had nightmares after. So there you go.
Man, that's edgy.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to get into the next few issues. I'm going to give some brief synopsises.
Oh, and wait. Do you want my opinion?
Oh yeah. What's your grade on 25? I'm sorry.
I also like 25. I like the Mary. Reading it again. I like the Mary Jane stuff. I think it's good. I like it more than. I think I like it more than the previous time I read it. I don't know why, but that's just how it is.
I think it's because we haven't gotten a lot of Mary Jane in the last
year. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I want more Mary Jane. I want more of them interacting together and like going on dates and like confiding in each other and all that kind of stuff. That's what I like. It's like refreshing to me.
There's a narrative purpose, at least, with like why she hasn't been there.
Right.
But like I do miss her presence.
Exactly. Yeah, I understand that like there's a reason why she's not in the book right now, but I miss her and I want more because like at the very beginning she came back after like kind of a drought, but not really a drought.
Yeah.
You know. I want to say the Zeb Wells thing was like a fever dream to me. It seemed like it's like Peter's having a dream of like, okay, Jonah's my friend now, and like, oh, he just barges in and is like, okay, help me out with this, and then, oh, well, there's this weird alien robot that wants to do something. I don't know. That was unnecessary, but I did love the. Did you guys talk about the bot story? Because I love that thing.
Oh yeah, we all loved it too.
I love that. I love the humor of that, and
it's the art apologist. He's come home to roost.
Well, wait, no, but Zach and I didn't hate the art. We just didn't like the
story. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, the story is so bonkers and nonsensical. It's just like that's why I love it. Like, and I love Dan Hipp as an artist. So real quick. I mean, that was just a win for me.
I just didn't find it overly funny. I was like, oh, this is a thing.
I thought it was like it's like, oh, chuckle. I don't know.
It's one of those, like, you know, that gif of Danger 5 with like the sensible chuckle book and like the guy turns the page.
I love that though. Like, and I think the art is great for it. And I don't know, just
you're easily impressed.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess, sure, you can say that about me, but like,
no, Adam, no, stand up for yourself. You like what you like.
I can't be easily impressed, but I love that. I just thought like it was just like a fun, silly, bonkers, off the wall thing that was like, I mean, apparently it was written by a fucking, a bot. So it's like.
I'll put that. I'll censor that in post. Hang on. Let me
Yeah.
write it down. That's fine.
That's staying
I'll
in.
write it down. I just really thought it was fun, and it was just like a little like. I mean, you can get rid of the Zeb Wells thing and keep that in there, and I'll be perfectly fine.
I mean, honestly, it's probably still better than the Zeb Wells thing.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like I said, the Zeb Wells thing. I just keep. I want to say it again. It's like a fever dream.
It is.
It's weird. Like it's
Why
weird
are you so mad?
What?
You sound so mad about like Zeb Wells. Jeez.
Oh, you're talking about
Me?
Paul?
Yeah.
No, it's because it was just a stupid story. I mean, like it was. I was like,
it doesn't lead to anything. Really.
exactly. It's like the bot thing was just as interesting. To be honest, I mean, it's the thing about it I don't like is the fact that like you're playing on the ideas of Jonah and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that but then like it goes to this random thing about aliens, and then Doctor Strange show. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it. Literally has no start and end. It's just kind of, and then it ends. And you're like, what? And so, I mean, the best part was seeing Doctor Strange in his sweet new costume. Like that's the best part.
Oh yeah, his spacesuit. Yeah.
Dude, that suit's sweet. I don't care. Dude, Mark Waid's Doctor Strange is one of the better Doctor Strange runs I've read in a long, long time.
I want to know what you thought of Jason Aaron, but that's a different topic.
Jason Aaron's Chaco stuff.
All right. Anyways, we should probably move on.
Let's move on to the next.
Peter and his harem. There you go.
So here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do like what we did with because Neil wasn't here for the last episode. So I'm going to, because we're at an hour almost at this point. We got 3 issues left to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap all 3 issues, and then we'll just kind of break it down. And I'm going to use the synopsis from the Marvel database. So
the best way to do it.
And we will just then get into the deep discussion. So all right, here we go. Here's the next issue. Issue 26. It is written by Nick Spencer. Kev Walker is the artist. It's who will run the world. So, again, using the synopsis from the Marvel database, thanks to those guys for having this up. Kingpin tries to get a hold of something that's very important to him, only to find that Boomerang has already taken it. Against all expectations, Peter's starting to bond with Fred, who greatly appreciates that Fist's men never do anything to him if he is with Peter. Meanwhile, the criminal gang that evaded Electro proposes to join them. Francine is initially not very interested, but when she finds out that the purpose of the Sinister Syndicate is to kill Boomerang, well, she changes her mind. The group attacks Myers at the Feast Center, where he is working as a volunteer. That is how the first part goes. This next issue is going to be issue 27, which is in the very next tab. There we go. Great cover by Otley.
Phenomenal cover.
It's a callback to ASM 218.
Yep.
No, not 218. 280 something.
Silver Sable. We get it.
Yeah.
So I neglected to mention who's in the Sinister Syndicate. This is
the Syndicate.
Carolyn Trainer.
Yeah, this is Carolyn Trainer. First time she's been an Amazing Spider-Man since the 90s.
Since ASM 380 something, I think.
No, it was ASM 426 through 428. The resurrection of Otto Octavius. You got the
I was only 20 issues off, or 40.
you got the White Rabbit. You got Scorpion.
Now that's my deep cut, by the way. White Rabbit.
Hey, I got her Marvel Legend, buddy.
Dude, I haven't got it yet, but JMD Mateus, baby.
There you
right
go.
There.
Then you got Scorpia, who was a part of the original Sinister Syndicate. And you got Electro and the new Beetle.
Whoa, wait a minute. Scorpio, she's the chick in Deadly Foes of Spider-Man?
Yeah.
That's Ringer's wife or whatever?
Yep.
No, is that right? I thought Ringer's wife was like, there's someone's wife who becomes like, who wears the Beetle armor, I think, in that.
Yeah, no, this is the Beetle armor is not. Yeah, that's not. But no, Scorpia. That is the Scorpia from the 90s. That is the outfit actually that was designed from Evil That Men Do. Whenever they finally got past issue 3 and they brought her in, Kevin Smith brought her in, and that was the redesign that Terry Dodson did. So
all right, I'm gonna go do some research.
She was an Evil That Men Do, right?
Yeah, she was in the
Scorpio was, I think, yes.
Yeah, Scorpio.
Yeah. So who will run the world? Part 2. So. Yeah, part 2 of Who Will Run the World. The Sinister Syndicate attacks Boomerang to eliminate him, but after securing Aunt May, Spidey intervenes to his rescue. But the two are not used to fighting together, and so while the syndicate members outnumber each other, they manage to outnumber them. They manage to kidnap Boomerang, but the Beetle actually wants to deliver him to Kingpin in exchange for a lavish reward, and in fact, not kill him. Meanwhile, Peter finds out that Randy.
Done.
Meanwhile, the last page, we'll just go to the final reveal. So
Let's go to the last
real quick,
page.
before we move on to issue 28, I want to say that like I called this a year in advance, and I'm still proud of that to this very day.
Yeah, so Randy is shacking up with the Beetle. So that is the
Daddy drama.
Daddy drama right there, because Janice Lincoln and Randy Robinson are the Romeo and Juliet of the Spider-Man universe now. All right, that leads us to issue number 28. All right, the Kingpin and fighting with Spidey and
These
Fred.
covers have nothing to do with the stories, by the way.
other than the
except for the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, the last one does.
But Who Will Run the World Part 3. And Peter's like, being a real big creeper spying on Janice. Because remember, Randy
was right there. Look at that.
Jesus Christ, she looks like a psychopath in that last.
Yeah,
panel.
she does.
She does. So Randy is shocked to learn that Janice has kidnapped Fred, mostly in the place where he works. So Beetle she then leaves. He's kind of pissed off at her because of that. Spider-Man manages to locate the Syndicate's lair thanks to a spider tracer, but Kingpin and his men have already arrived. Boomerang reveals to the rest of the Syndicate that Beetle has betrayed them and reveals information that makes Janice convince her accomplices to let him go. Eventually, Spidey and the Syndicate make Fred escape Kingpin, and in the end, Boomerang agrees to tell Spider-Man why the Kingpin's upset with them. Meanwhile, Janice manages to make peace with Randy by repairing the damage to the Feast Center and having the permits obtained at the center so that it reopens immediately. So this is a subplot that has been going back to the beginning of the series since this volume started, and definitely we're like, all right, what's going on?
Talking about the Feast Center?
No,
Randy.
the Fred and the Kingpin,
the Fred thing.
Fred Kingpin thing. But yes, obviously the Feast Center was brought into the episode 2. If you go back and listen, that's when that was started. So kind of a nice little bit there. So guys, what did you think of the Syndicate and their motivations and how they approach things? Let's just kind of talk about the overall arc. We'll start with Adam, since you got here first or last. If you're not first, you're last.
Right? Yeah. If you're not first, you're last. This was something I was kind of like, I don't know. I was a little hesitant to reread it. I was like, oh, do I want to reread this? But I found myself pleasantly surprised. I liked it a lot, actually. And I thought, like, I remembered the art. And I was like, I wasn't a big fan of the art. But I was like, wait. I'm reading it. I was like, I like the art. I think the art is good.
That does not shock me.
I was like, wait, like... I was like, okay, like...
Okay,
I was remembering, like...
There is some problems with the artwork. I do feel like
the art is really weird, like hair-wise. Hair is really
oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, Peter looks like Phil Urich in like Brand New Day or like whatever.
like the shadowing on this face is just odd.
It's dramatic lighting.
It's very odd.
Stop it, Adam! Stop it!
I can turn anything around.
I think overall this was a very good departure because like Hunted was a very melodramatic and depressing arc, and this was like the comedy it needed to be to not be overbearingly depressing.
Yeah, I will say that like I said, I thought back to the art and I was like, I don't remember really liking how the guy does Spider-Man, but then I looked at it again and I was like, his Spider-Man isn't that bad. I'll take it if he wants to be the regular artist in the future. Well, it's not really his decision, but whatever.
No, you take that back right now.
That's not that bad. I mean,
It's horrible.
That's kind of what I was thinking about, but it's not that bad. I mean,
It's not horrible.
He's a little thick. He's a little thick, but it's okay.
It was serviceable filler
Yeah.
art. This was not like Salvador LaRocca on Star Wars bad.
Right.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Oh, God, we're opening Pandora's box here. We're opening Pandora's box. Because, speaking of Kev Walker, do you know what Kev Walker has also done? Star Wars books.
Dr. Afro. I know.
And it's awful.
Oh,
Awful. And I'm telling you right now, this is not as bad as that stuff, but God, it's not too far off either. His boomerang isn't bad.
Paul, you're screaming into your mic.
That's great. But yeah, no.
man, I'm gonna have so much fun doing the audio levels on this episode.
No, but the thing is, his Spider-Man is really bad. It's bad.
I wouldn't say it's really bad. I think it's. I mean, is it as bad as Sandoval for you guys?
I think I like Sandoval a bit more. In like, it's weird because I have like a love-hate relationship with Sandoval.
Sure.
I love the way he draws the black suit, but sometimes I have a weird problem with like how he draws the regular costume. And I can see you wincing, Zach. I'm sorry.
This is a guy from Hunted, right? We talked about Adam. No, I would say if I had to choose between these two, I would say I'd pick him just because Kev Walker is he just does not cut it for me.
Kev Walker is one of those artists who like works with like one of those books where people just stand and talk. He's not very good at high speed kinetic action.
Absolutely, yeah.
I will say this. This was one of my favorite panels of the entire issue.
Can you put the? Go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
I'll do it in a second. But like the fact that you have Carol and Trainer talking about inherited clone memory. I laughed out loud because I'm like, it's a Clone Saga reference. I understood it.
This is what you want to appease Zach.
Because like Alistair Smythe that was okay for as bad as Cyber War was, and trust me, go listen to those 2 parts of Cyber War because you will learn how bad that was. The fact that he referenced it just made me laugh. I was like, holy crap on a cracker. Like, nobody should reference things like Cyber War. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody reasonably should reference these things. But he did!
And I do like the recurring gag of Scorpia like being obsessed with arm wrestling. That's just like a really weird like dialogue gag that was just funny.
Yes.
Zach,
real quick, let's talk about. You want to talk about the Syndicate real quick because some people on the internet completely missed the point of them.
Right.
Like someone on the internet got mad about the Syndicate, and they completely missed the point because it's like supposed to satirize those those weird like workplace elements, like like. Oh, hey, here's a daycare because we think moms can be great villains too. Like Spencer was like, if you've read Superior Foes, Spencer is well known for taking the piss out of things with a very blunt, with a very straight face. Like sometimes he has like a very sarcastic edge, but often he just kind of presents it as it is and just lets the audience laugh at it. Oh yeah. Like I get like you can argue that Spencer agrees with the philosophy of with like the feminist syndicate, but like he's still willing to like laugh at some of the stranger elements of it. It's clearly satirical, and I appreciate that he was willing to have fun with it.
I think that's the thing about this issue, or what he did. I'm surprised he didn't get more backlash, to be quite honest, because
it depends on where you were in the internet at the time.
Yeah. See, I didn't. I'm not in, and thank God. I'm
in the drama sphere.
Yeah, I'm not. I was in the drama sphere for Star Wars for years, and I don't want to ever get.
It's not healthy. Like
no matter what it is. Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing. Like you said, Neil, it's meant to be. It's not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
But he obviously believes in what they're saying, and I think that there's value there. Don't get me wrong. But I definitely was a little, when I was reading it at the time. I'm like, oh man, I could see this backlashing on him big time, because again, you have just gonna say it, a white male being like, hey, I'm gonna make fun of these, or not I'm gonna poke fun at this. But again, from my perspective, I thought I was in good fun too. I never read. Yeah.
Spencer was clearly running, like he took the vegan lady octopus gag and just ran with it.
Right. Yeah.
It was clearly meant to be like just taking the piss out of it.
Trapster, I laughed out loud more with Trapster than anybody. Like oh my god,
where he's like, I don't know, like Adam can post a panel, but like there's a page where they're all explaining their motivations, and then it gets to Trapster, and I laughed at like how she just has an R instead of like an ER.
Yeah, I think about dropping the A. Is what she says.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about dropping the A too. I'm not sure.
And then Fred goes, "Well, I know all of them, but what about you?" And she goes, "I just love violence." Yeah,
I thought she was a great character. So there was a lot of great. Again, I love the idea of the Syndicate. I call them Syndicate. I don't like call them Sinister Syndicate because they dropped the Sinister.
That's what they're called in this book.
They call themselves the Syndicate.
No, they call themselves the Syndicate. So
they dropped the Sinister because they want to sound professional.
Yeah, I love that. See, that was great. And so, but yeah, I thought this was a great little arc. Besides the art being pretty mediocre, again, Nick Spencer just writes such a solid, good comic. I mean, it's. Yeah. The guy, every time I read a Nick Spencer comic, I'm always like, man, this guy just knows how to deliver everything he wants, and I love it. And yeah, I think he's this is a continuation of how good it is. I love White Rabbit. Right, White Rabbit's always one of those characters. That and the Walrus and Frogman, like those are my deep cuts, man. I love those characters. And go ahead, Neil.
My biggest problem, art aside, is that the superior foes weren't in the book. Like issue 26 lied to us, and there's a reason for that. Right. Spencer explained on his Instagram that like there was a pacing problem but he wanted to have the superior foes in the beginning of the arc where he and the LMDs were playing poker. But I am a little upset that we didn't get that.
But but at the same time, I like the fact that like they got their own thing, and meaning the Syndicate did, and they got to develop those characters, and I'm hoping to see them come back. I think they are a solid kind of fun version, and I mean Nick Spencer and the Beetle is just. I love how he writes her. I mean, he should really write his own a Beetle solo series, man. I mean, I think she's that good of a character. With the superior foes and her connection, obviously, with her father being Tombstone, she's a great character, and I think Spencer could write a really good like anti-hero or whatever you want to call it kind of book,
anti-villain book,
whatever you want to. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would describe that, but and I think you could. He definitely did it with superior foes, and I think she'd be a great character to do it with. I mean, think about the issues you could have her against Daredevil and Matt Murdock alone, right? I mean. There's lots of good stuff there.
Didn't they do that once?
Probably. I don't remember.
It was in Superior Foes. Where
was it?
Yeah, there's a case that she's the prosecutor and he's the defense.
Oh, it's been a long time, yeah.
And like she's like stages an accident outside, so Matt will go as Daredevil, and he runs and he's like, I gotta get out of the courtroom, and then like he just has to leave, and she wins the case because the defendant left.
Man, it's been a minute.
This joke for Spideydude.com, this one hit in a little bit different way.
But like I do love how backstabby Beetle is. Like she sells out the Syndicate for $1, and like under the claim of like girl power zigga zig ah. Like she talks a big girl power game, but then like in the minute it's not convenient for her, she just ducks and runs, and I love that about her. Like, and it's sort of like something that came out in Superior Foes, that Beetle wants to be the Hillary Clinton of drug lords, and nowhere is that more indicative than in this book.
Yeah, again, this is where Adam was wanting me to get a specific page. So
okay. What I like about this page or this like series of this. What I appreciate about these 3 panels is that, first of all, Spencer writes all these characters with a unique voice, which is good, but then the art in those 3 panels shows those same personalities by the drinks they have.
Reacting the same, and also just reacting the same to Fred makes a nice contrast.
Right, yeah.
Again, this is where I appreciate the balance of Spencer in the sense that you get these super serious arcs, but you
Are you clipping your nails, Neil?
Oh, sorry, I'll mute myself.
Why are you?
Oh my God.
Why?
I mean, you can do that
because I chewed them and now they're inflamed.
Oh my God.
Ooh, why don't you just wait till you're not on? Okay, never mind. Anyway, God bless America. Anyway,
It's like R.I.P. the Spideydude Experience.
I forgot that my mic can pick that up.
Yeah, it's called a snow.
We also can see you do it too. I just want you to know. It's not like I could hear. I could see you go clip, clip, clip. I'm just like, are you clipping your nails?
I'm going solo here for a second. All right.
Oh my God.
So, nevertheless, the thing that I appreciate about Spencer, and I got a lot of headroom. Good Lord. All right. Anyway, the thing I appreciate about Spencer is that he can balance the seriousness when it's serious and the humor when it's time to be humorous. And no more contrast than this episode with the previous 2, right? This episode, we're talking, it's more relaxed, it's more, slice of life Spidey. We've had some really heavy 12 issues prior to this episode. So the previous trade paperback, if you're reading the trades, you're going, man, that's a really heavy, depressing story. And now, okay, here's the light, the snacks that you need when you're reading a Spider-Man story.
Yeah,
it gives you some sustenance, but it's not, it's not going to be it's not going to fill you up.
Right.
I really appreciate this story arc just because, like, he could have been preachy with it, but he wasn't. He was.
He chose to just take the piss out of it.
Yeah, he chose for it to be humorous, and kind of laugh at a little bit of the absurdity that taking it to the nth degree can be. And on its surface, some of these things need to be talked about and addressed. Don't misunderstand. But the problem is with society today, we tend to go, let's take it to the 12th degree when we could dial it back to about an 8 and have a reasonable conversation. So I thought it was fun. There was parts that I laughed out loud. Fred is the problem that I think some people might have with this arc is that Fred kind of feels like the star when he should be just a supporting character. But the characterization of Fred, if you like Superior Foes, this was the arc for you. And so therefore, I'm going to go back to the grid view. And so, like, would you guys what would you give a grade on this arc?
I would give it a solid B plus. Art brings it down a bit. And honestly, I was fine with Fred being like the star because, being honest, Peter, Fred, and Janice kind of share equal screen time. It's sort of like a three. Yeah. It's a 3-way battle royale. God help me.
3-way tie for last.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So again, no, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that when you look at that, that's a really fair grade. I think I would give it a B plus as well. Paul, what would you do?
Well, I'm in the same boat. I think it's a B plus. And one thing you guys have kind of all said that I would echo as well is the fact that Spider-Man has kind of not really been prominent in these last couple books. Think about it. Like he's shared the spotlight with his girlfriend / should be wife. He's Mysterio had the issue 24, and now he's sharing it with Boomerang and and all this other stuff. But what would we all say as big Spider-Man fans? What has been the common denominator for Spider-Man? The supporting cast always gets a lot of screen time, and this is no different. And for better for worse, I think for better, in my opinion, is Fred is a big part of that supporting cast, even though it's definitely, I would say, no, force-fed is not the right word, but it's very much what Nick Spencer loves to do is write Fred, but he fits. He's made it really fit as that weird roommate because we've all had weird roommates in our past, right? I mean, assuming
it's like Spider-Man's version of New Girl, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really like that dynamic because how many times has he shared being a supervillain with living with someone like he's supposed to be, or I say supervillain, he's not, he kind of is, I guess now, but you know what I'm saying. It's
he's reformed.
Yeah, he's as much as one can be, right?
Apparently, he killed Jackpot's husband. Never forget.
We forgot about Jackpot. Thank you, art apologist. Thank you for making.
I read it on Wikipedia, and I'm like, well,
that's fair.
No, his new name is Bring Back BND Bringer.
No. But anyway, no, it's I think this is a solid arc. Besides, I mean, Nick Spencer hasn't written anything that I think is bad, and to be honest, as far as Spider-Man, and this is continuing good, solid, fun stuff. And you know what? Here's the thing: the art definitely brings it down. I'd give it a B plus because the art is just not that great. But besides the art, it's a good solid stories in my opinion. Especially the last issue. I really like the last issue a lot. Which I'm not sure we've talked about yet, but are we going to? I'm not sure. Are we going to talk about the last issue? Or are you sort of reviewing that one?
I mean, I'm good with going to 29.
Okay, Okay.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Well, let's just save that. Let's just save that one. Let's just save that one.
That's one of the most pivotal issues of Spencer's run, and you didn't read it? What the fuck?
I didn't. No, I read it, but I didn't reread it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but are we going to save that for the next show?
We'll leave that off because that's next trade. Yeah,
that's the next trade paperback.
Okay, good.
I was going to read it, but then we're
not going to do with the one shot for the trade paperback. But we'll talk about
it. Okay, good.
Adam.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
I really like this arc. Like I said, I kind of was like, oh, I got to read this again. Okay. But reading it again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought the art was better than I remembered. Like I said, I like how every character has their own personality. And it was just enjoyable. It moves along the Boomerang plot a little, but not in a way that like we're necessarily satisfied, I guess. But it continues that because we know that Boomerang and Kingpin have a feud, so we get a little bit more of that. So we get like, okay, that's going to continue on a little bit later. That's good. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I like the supporting cast stuff. I like that. Okay, Randy's hooking up with the daughter of his father's greatest enemy. And then I wanted to say that Feel One No supervillain GF because she
no psychopath supervillain GF.
Because she tries to help Randy in the end, which is admirable in her own way, and I like that.
Well,
she's a great character. She's a great character.
The power. Can I just be honest?
I'd give it an A-.
The power of horny saved Fred.
Yes,
fair. I will say this: the other thing that I'm kind of annoyed by is that the Spencer run is like this is the Janice Randy thing is completely dropped. We will not see this for the next year of
That's fine.
I think we're gonna see that in 2021. You can quote me.
I hope so.
Well, here's the thing: is that we would have gotten to it sooner, but Corona Chan kicked Marvel in the
not this next episode, but we're going to have to address that, I think, when we get to the
because a bunch of people soured on ASM, and I think that's where I've soured on Venom, because just Venom took too long to come out in the middle of like a really pivotal arc.
Yeah,
and I just got burned out. And to be frank, I understand why some people are kind of burned out with ASM, because I will say
I think
this,
it's mostly the Kindred stuff because it's taking so long. But I think we're gonna get that.
I'm gonna be honest. I understand like people getting burned out by Kindred, but like this is nowhere near as bad as Hobgoblin was. Because Hobgoblin,
no kidding, yeah.
Hobgoblin was what, 5 years, and even then
it wasn't even resolved really.
It wasn't truly resolved until 1996.
Yeah.
Technically it was resolved, but then like they had Stern come in and fix it. Basically.
Well, right, but even then it was too confusing.
But that was Stern's second run on ASM, and he had to deal with the plot, I think, right?
No, it wasn't. It was a one shot. It was a miniseries.
Yeah.
But even then they had to retcon and go back, and because again Ned Leeds was killed, and that's the thing with Kindred. There's a long game and he's playing it, and they're letting him do that. With Hobgoblin, it was just kind of like, well, we're whatever. So
people are just impatient.
yeah. I mean, well said.
We have the benefit of hindsight on that one with the Hobgoblin mission, and we're seeing Kindred unfold in real time. So there's the added pressure from that. So
I think we're finally going to start getting answers starting a week from when this is being recorded.
Yes.
So
October 14th.
The good news is that I feel like we've made significant progress. We can move forward. And look, I am so dang happy because I think we're about at the hour and a half mark, and I feel like that's a good spot to kind of
very good pacing this episode.
Well, Zach's got his safety glasses on, so
I'm gonna blow.
Everything's a-okay.
Everything's a-okay. No,
glasses squad activate.
And then he took them off.
These are not just safety glasses. They are in fact prescription safety glasses because I worked in a job where I might have got stabbed in the eye. I'm a recovering correctional officer, so needless to say, I will say this. I think that the Spencer arc, we're at the end of year one. So let's kind of take a step back.
End of year one, beginning of year two.
Yeah, we're in the end of year one, beginning of year two. Paul, has this been the best year consistently that we've had in a long time?
I would say, yeah. I would think so. It was. I mean, granted, I don't love everything Slott did. I liked a lot of what he did, personally. But as far as, because I really liked the Superior line when Superior happened and all that lead up, I actually really liked all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty good. But I mean, the one thing Spencer has done, and I think Slott would, to Slott's credit, in my opinion, would be he tried to push things forward. And though it didn't always succeed for everybody, I liked where he was pushing it anyway. With Spencer, he's trying to meet everyone in the middle, where he's trying to bring people back, but he's also trying to push things forward, but he's using the continuity to do it. Whereas Slott didn't always like to do the play in other people's sandboxes, and he tried to make his own sandbox. And I think that was obviously to a detriment sometimes. And with Spencer, again, I think Neil said brought Mark Waid. He very much is like Mark Waid. He uses continuity to his advantage rather than, I have to do this and I have to work around it. No, he uses it to enhance the story. And that's what all I've seen through that whole first year is he's using continuity. He's trying to make things more cohesive. And I give him all the credit because look at Hunted, look at the Tricentennial. I mean, he's bringing in so many deep cut Spider-Man stuff, and not just like, and again, he's not just doing it in a way where it's kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and it's whatever. Like, oh my gosh, the guy from the Tricentennial stuff, who was the original, Strom. I mean, brought Strom back. He brought, he's bringing all these different characters in, and he's also bringing in fun characters and bringing in the new Trapster. I mean, he's doing such a great job of bringing everything in. I think this is definitely the strongest year in a long, long time as far as I think of bringing more Spider-Man fans together than like blowing it up, in my opinion. So
his run is fairly unifying. Like I don't think I've
agree.
heard people say like it's got some pacing problems, and I don't think I'm inclined to disagree. But I don't think I've heard anyone actively go out of their way to say like Spencer's run is horrible. I think at the worst, I think the worst I've heard people say is that it's just okay. Right. And frankly, if we're getting an okay ASM run after, I know Paul, we're gonna get into a fist fight after this.
That's right. That's right.
After 10 plus years of discoordinated webheads and a man who clearly doesn't like to write Spider-Man and wants to write Iron Man instead.
Or Doc Ock.
Or Doc Ock or Green Goblin.
Hang on, we're gonna have a great debate. Once we get caught up, me, Paul, we're gonna sit down. Here's my proposal, Paul. We're gonna do this live.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
5-part debate.
5 parts.
Here's the thing.
God.
Here's the reason why. Part 1, pre Brand New Day.
All right, I see where you're going with this. Okay.
And Brand New Day, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we cut off there. Then the Big Time.
Big Time. Okay. I like where we're going with this. Okay, I can get that.
I like
Superior and Renew Your Vows.
Okay.
Right. Volume 3 and Volume 4. Break it basically down by volume, because I feel like the overall slot era, you can't start at Big Time because you got to talk about the stuff before it.
Yeah, Brand New Day. Yeah, talk about all that stuff.
And for the record, I will do my best to break it down, and we don't bring in. We'll have to talk some about the other elements of the other writers, but I want to focus specifically on the
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So like what I'm thinking is like the pre-Brand New Day, Initiative 7, She-Hulk 4, and then the Human Torch miniseries.
I never read the Human Torch miniseries, and I heard that's good. I've been meaning to read that.
Listen, in a past life, in a past podcasting life.
I remember this, Zach. I remember this.
Because of that miniseries,
you were excited. I remember.
I was excited. So
I remember.
I think most of the people there were.
Yeah. So
in that past podcasting life, we're excited to see Slot take over.
And in that past podcasting life, also, if I remember, liked New Ways to Die, which is, I think, a pretty solid Spider-Man story. In my opinion.
I honestly don't hate New Ways to Die. I think it's actually stronger.
New Ways to Die was good, but would have been better if a specific element was not hidden.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. But anyway. All right. But Zach, I think this is great. I think it's a great idea. Break his arc down, or break his stuff down by those 5 points. We can just go one by one and talk about it. I think that's a great idea.
So that's kind of where I'm thinking about going forward with because I think just trying to cram 10 years of stuff into
it's too much.
That's just so. Look, one of the things that we want to accomplish is we want to bring both sides together.
Yeah. Middle ground.
Like
exactly,
what is trying to do through the writing, I want to try to do with the fandom and say, look, I disagree with you with these reasons, and these are my reasons why.
Yeah.
And you disagree with me, and this is the reasons why, and we move forward. So yeah, I think that's where we're kind of going to go with it. The Spideydude Experience is going to be, right now we're just a review show, but it's going to, the layers of the onion are going to continue to be added. And, right now the review is at the core, but we're going to start adding more layers to it.
Sure.
So Adam, what do you think of the past year of Spider-Man? What's your thoughts?
I think overall I like it. It's refreshing. There's a lot of new talent being brought in. I don't know. I like I like how it's, funny in a, subtle way or whatever. Like it's like organically funny. I think I've said before that Nick Spencer, he's pretty good with comedy, and also I think a lot of the artists have been good with portraying the comedic elements. Like there's the physical stuff.
Like we've dunked on Baccello, I think rightfully
Right.
so, and Spencer
But
Spencer seems to have like very hard time getting artists to stick around. Like
I don't know if it's that. I think it's more like I think it's just like the schedule. I think it's the schedule. I think it's editorial. I think it's a lot of stuff. Like we'll talk about that.
But my point is more that like Spencer has a very hard time like keeping an artist on for very long. Like originally it was rotating relatively effectively between Otley and Ramos, and then like since then he's had a hard time keeping an artist on for like an entire arc because like Gleason stuck around for 3 issues and then the arc was taken over by Spideydude, or is that how you pronounce his name? Is that how you pronounce their name?
Yeah, I think so.
Bezel Duo.
I'm gonna go through now that we're done with year 1. I'm gonna go through and look at the art credits and kind of make a spreadsheet and say, okay, how many issues did these artists do? Because right now, I mean, Otley, at least in the first year, was very much the definitive artist. And number 2,
that's what I liked. Yeah,
and Ross
I like that.
Was
I like that too.
Backup.
I did like that Otley was kind of the definitive artist because it gave you got a new guy putting his mark on this new run, and I like that because it's new writer, new run. I like that. It was different from the past decade.
But what I'm saying is like Otley comes back for 1 issue in 37, and then you get Ivan Coelho for 3 issues, and then you get Otley back again, which was welcome.
Yeah.
But then you get Kim Jacinto out of nowhere, and then you have the Sins Rising one shot. Who did? I think it was Sana who did the one shot for Sins Rising.
Yeah,
and then you've got Bagley coming back, and then you've got Marcelo Ferreira for 2 issues, and then you're back to Bagley again, and then we have Otley, Ramos, and Bagley on ASM 49.
Yeah,
and then I think finally we're getting. As far as I know, Gleason is doing 4 out of 5 of the main Sins or 4 out of 5 of the Sins Rising issues or the Last Remains issues, and then Bagley's doing 54, and then you've got Federico Vincentini who did the Sins of Norman Osborn one shot, doing all of the Last Remains tie-in issues, and that I think after year 3 is hopefully because we're officially in year 3 now.
Yes,
because of delays. Every 25 issues we get a new we go into year X,
third year.
So now we're into year 3, and hopefully that brings a more consistent artist lineup, and artists aren't leaving mid arc.
I think this is where year 1, Otley, Ramos, a couple of
back and
films
forth
here and there.
Fine.
And it was pretty consistent. Year 2 kind of got more inconsistent with artwork, but I think we are now that we're past the pandemic. Publishing is back on schedule.
Yeah.
Now the good thing is with Mark Bagley is that you can call Mark Bagley up, and he is probably the most volume producer of artwork since Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was a guy that was doing 18 issues a year, no problem, no sweat, and filling in on other books while still doing that. This is a guy that could do 2 books a year if you gave him some lead time and some time to build it up. Now, granted, if you're writing for Bendis, there's not a whole lot of you have a lot more creative freedom. There's not as much script there, or much plot. There's more script than plot. So
I see what you're saying. Okay, it wasn't a complete dig at Bendis, but
no. Bendis's scripts are he kind of gives you the overall plot of the arc, and you got 6 issues to draw it, and then he'll go in and do the dialogue. So when he was doing Ultimate Spider-Man, that worked because you're writing for the trade. Now this is. I will say this. I feel like we got some very unique artwork in year 2, but year 1 I thought was a very solid foundation.
Yeah,
this is probably consistently the best we've gotten since 2007. Because I'm thinking like Civil War era Spider-Man when the Civil War storyline was coming out. You had
Tyler Kirkham and Ron Garney.
Yeah.
I loved Garney's Spider-Man.
Garney,
I loved it.
That's good. That's good art.
that year, 2006, 2007
was a staple year for Spider-Man art.
Great year was probably outside of Superior, because I think that Superior was definitely the high point of Slott's run.
Because you had Stegman, Ramos, and Cameron Coley.
We both agree on that, Zach. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Look, there's
Who would've
problems
thought?
with Superior, but that's probably his best work. And so
I like to renew your vows.
I would fight and argue Big Time
was his best.
I will argue that Big Time was his best, like, larger volume work. There were some clunky arcs within Big Time, but I think it's technically on a technical level the strongest of his work.
So yeah, let's say so 2011, from November 2011 to November 2012 was a pretty good year.
Very distinct visual identity.
2007. So I mean, but there's been a lot of inconsistent to bad years in that era since. And coming off of Volume 4, where you felt that Slott was running out of gas.
Yeah.
Now it was so refreshing to come in here and say, okay, this is a great definitive year where the writing was consistent. The artwork may not be consistent, but the writing was really consistent. And even I felt like Ramos was refreshed and rejuvenated. I felt bringing in Otley was great.
Because Ramos had time to work on Extraordinary X-Men and Champions, and that had probably reinvigorated his love of Spider-Man art, because he'd been working with Slott on and off since at least 2010. So he'd been working on ASM for like 5 years at that point. I think taking him away and putting him on Extraordinary X-Men and Champions gave him more characters to work with and gave him more time to refine his anatomy, because sometimes we still get Giraffe Man, but it's not as often as we used to.
Right.
And then I think that shows distinct improvement in his anatomy.
Yes. I agree.
Paul, you're muted, by the way. There you go.
I know. I was really confused because why is Zach? I thought Zach was going to take over, so I was like, what's going on here? No, I think I have a lot to say about Slott, but I'll just save it for that, because I'm going to say this right now that I like Slott way more than you guys do, but I'm not also the one that's going to say that he's flawless and he's amazing or anything like that.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing that I think that I appreciate what Slott was trying to do a lot more, I think, than you guys did, in a sense to where, again, as far as listening to the old podcast, the Crawl Space podcast that a lot of you guys were on, a lot of people just didn't like the fact that you're pushing Spider-Man in a different direction than people thought. Again, Iron Man, the classic Iron Man, or he's Iron Man, blah, 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 or whatever. And again, I think there's a lot to say there, but no, I think right now where Peter is in his life at this point, it works, because he's just kind of treading water as Peter Parker right now, and I think that's very much part of the character. Again, Nick Spencer is doing a great job, but here's the thing, and this is the problem. I think not a problem, but this is the thing with every Spider-Man writer that you have to eventually put Peter somewhere that he needs to have some stability. You can't have him just be floundering forever. That's going to get boring. Really fast.
Well, I think Spencer's done a good job of keeping Peter on his toes, not just in a way of like just stability, but also in the status quo change of his life. Like, who would, like, if I went back in time and I walked into your apartment after breaking in and just walked up to you and said, "Hey, so Peter Parker's going to remake with Randy Robertson again in Boomerang," how would you react to that?
I would think
you wouldn't believe that, right? Because that just seems like so weird that's like impossible to conceive. But it's unironically one of the best status quo changes that happened to Peter in the past, I'd argue, 8+ years.
I will say this,
and I want more of that.
Looking back at retrospect, the Randy Robinson pairing with Peter wasn't a bad element of the reboot.
They just did nothing with it.
Well, there was some cringe stuff there because of the Jill Stacy subplot.
I would argue that's not intrinsically tied to the roommate element.
But my point being is that when Paul Jenkins comes in and kind of gives the situation a little bit more of a personality, it actually ends up being pretty good. So that's that's that has probably been that was one of the better elements of the reboot Paul Jenkins era, because Paul Jenkins, I feel, is the bridge from the reboot to the JMS era, because he started on 20 and was there for almost a year before JMS comes in there. So I kind of feel like the hard reboot ended with ASM and Peter Parker 19, Volume 2.
Yeah.
And, a transitional era began there. So I think that, again, consistency on the writing. And I also feel like that Cebulski coming in and
Total
saying,
breath of fresh air.
because honestly, I think because Alonso was basically Quesada 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cebulski coming in with a fresh set of eyes, he'd been away from the company for a while, knew the company.
He was still part of it, but he was like over in Japan doing licensing deals.
Right. So he comes in and he's like, okay, so what do we need to do? All right, what do we need with Spider-Man? Let's kind of take him back to basics. Look, I was a little concerned about the phrase "back to basics" because I'm like, oh god, I've heard this before. It's called Mackie Byrne reboot. But I feel like
and even like as someone who didn't grow up with Mackie Byrne, I was born the year of the Mackie Byrne reboot. It still kind of alarmed me because even the year of Spencer coming on in 2018, we had like Peter losing Parker Industries and like they made a big deal of like back to basics, and that was horrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is that Slott tried to take him back to basics with Brand New Day.
It was just a pivot.
Slott and company. Then they tried to do a back to basics with Volume 3, which was not good. Then Volume 4 hits, and it's like, okay, let's put him in a completely out of his element. So there is an element of, I understand what Paul's saying, that Volume 4 was such a, let's push Peter completely out of the element. The problem was with that, by doing that, it almost felt like that Peter was losing what made Peter unique in that.
See,
so that gets
and that's where, See, then I'm just gonna stop because but just we should wrap the show up. We have another show to do still. We gotta wrap. We gotta go. We gotta get going.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen,
let's do the time warp again.
This was the latest episode of Spideydude Experience. I'm Zach Joyner. We got Paul. We got Neil. We got Adam. Thanks again, gentlemen, for being a part of this great show.
Clip. Oh, sorry.
Oh my God! In this episode, Neil clips his fingernails.
Never again.
I'll mute myself next time.
All right. Anyway, all that being said, thank you to all of our supporters that we've had on the site. The website is back. Yes, it is. Yeah. The website is here.
Yeah.
Go to.
I'm the Kermit version.
I'm Chris Pratt in the background of a Parks and Rec set. Just
no, do you have to mention Chris Pratt? No.
Well. Anyway, moving on.
High school with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you hooked on a feeling? All right. So this is not the final. This is not the final version of Spideydude. Okay, we are working behind the scenes. There's some new stuff. We will have a newsletter. We will have some other great services. We got our podcasts now. There's one that's not up yet. I can't reveal it just yet because the person that I want on here to reveal it is not here. But we talked about Marvelous Women. We got Clone Saga Chronicles. All the podcasts will be back and running online very, very soon. If you're listening to us on the audio version, thank you. We really do appreciate it. I am slowly but surely adding all of our shows back online. So a little bit of delay probably with Spectacular Radio, but once that is done, we're doing some reshuffling, reorganizing, some behind-the-scenes tinkering, but Spidey-Dude.com is back. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see the scroll at Spideydude Network on Facebook, Instagram. It's also our PayPal, PayPal.me/Spideydude Network. If you want to leave a tip in the tip jar, that's where you can go. At Spideydude Radio is our Twitter handle. You can follow me on the Twitters, and you'll see comments from people like P-Thug on Twitter. That's his Twitter handle. That's not his
At
Twitter.
Herman22 with 2 N's.
Yeah, at Herman22 with 2 N's. At Quilsniv, if you wanted to follow Agreeable Neil.
I post good memes.
Art Apologist Adam, I don't has Twitter. Though that
I made one, but we'll save it for later.
So
They better have art apologist in the title.
No.
You'll see our live streams. We're going to be live streaming once a week, not on the same nights that we're recording these episodes or releasing these episodes. So thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for the support. All of our supporters that supported us during our site outage. You'll see me make some comments. I made a comment about the whole Disney Plus debacle where somebody decided to put Spider-Man Far From Home's poster at Disney Plus, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, follow us on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. We'll have more stuff on Instagram very soon. But yeah, also check out our other shows on the network. Marvelous Women will be coming out very soon. The pilot episode is up and on our Twitter, and you can go to our Facebook and YouTube. So search for that on the YouTube page. Spideydude Radio Network. If you just type that in on YouTube, you will find us. Be sure to hit that bell button and hit the subscribe button, because we are trying slowly but surely to gain more subscribers. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will talk to you guys very soon. Everybody, have a great night and stay safe. And we will see you next time when we cover the absolute carnage
Of absolute carnage.
More like absolute garbage.
Jeez.
Hang on, we gotta do some JoJo poses.
Yeah, JoJo Siwa. The
No, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, I was doing when you said JoJo, because I have a 5-year-old. I just instantly went to JoJo Siwa, and I was like the girl whose bows are haunting me in my nightmares. So anyway,
that's Zach's life.
That's my life. That's the life of being a dad to a 5-year-old. Paul, guess
I'm
what?
not there yet. Yeah, I'm not there yet. She's only
coming.
6 months. She's only 6 months. So yeah.
You will know soon.
The halcyon days.
So, or soon you will know. Anyway,
God.
ladies and gents, we'll talk to you guys later here on. Thanks for listening to Spideydude Experience, only on the Spideydude Radio Network.